knowledge and the understanding.
That's where we at. H-Medina Children's Day,
Yep.
2025. July 27, 2025, Houston, Texas. And for those that's wondering why I got Be Someone under the skyline, is because out here in H-Medina, we got a freeway with the words Be Someone that's a famous and a well-known and just like consciously agreed upon. That's us right there.
Right, exactly.
Now we gonna be someone. You feel me? Now we awesome. Now we every single day we knew our history, show through. We the who's who. So we got the skyline, we got the 16-pointed flag, because you know that was given to the babies in Medina. That deals with the signs of them traveling through those various stages of knowledge and equality in order to qualify themselves as a said person, that ability of being able to be responsible for themselves. So then, you know, we got the Children's Day on the back, the fruit of the root. 2025, H-Medina. Once again, yeah, you know, we all the 5%ers here to give our life. Abika, Children of Harlem, 1967, French documentary.
Right, exactly. To add on to what the guy's talking about, yes, this is the Children's Day in H-Medina. Houston, Texas, we Medina rooted, right? Medina is Brooklyn, New York. That's where they had their first annual Children's Day. Me and my brother back, what was that, got like 2022.
Wisdom at a cycle, wisdom understanding.
Yeah, true indeed.
2023.
We had that determined idea to have that Children's Day. And we had our first one at the A-Leaf Center as well. You know what I mean? Which was a great turnout. You know what I mean? And we constantly continue to do this thing because what? It's right and exact. We gotta do this for the babies. Who else gonna do it? Ain't no one else gonna do it for the babies. We gotta do it. We gotta have that initiative, and we gotta do that which is right and exact. Be that service of that community. You know what I mean? Should be the agents of that what? Change. You know what I mean? This month, what? Just as you love why? Just as you love why? The wisdom of log all day, wisdom at a cipher, wisdom power of mind. Draw that up. You know what I mean? Just as you love why? You know what I mean? And we dealing with the what? It's the 7th month. You know what I mean? It's the 7th month. So, hey, you know, that's self-explanatory. We're going to continue to do what we do. You know what I mean? As you can see, the family is out. You know what I mean? It's another beautiful day out here in the Emancipation Park in H-Medina, Houston, Texas. You know what I mean? With the guys. Hey, you want that work? We're going to have it for you.
Yeah.
Word is bond, bond is life.
And the signs of us being Medina rooted is once again, and they call Brooklyn, New York, Medina out there now. Why? So us being Medina rooted stems from the fact that our cipher's origin and the person who brought the knowledge out here, Trueborn Mylaw, his roots is in Medina. He's from Bed-Stuy. They call it Gay-Sab. They call that God's Ab. That's where the God grew up at. That's where he's from. And from there, he spread these teachings everywhere. Like, my brother has so many fruit, and he's taught so many people, and I have so many brothers because of it. In various locations, and various ciphers of brothers who's actually doing the work. Like I say, not prophets, true and living God, because they able to show and prove every single day, whether someone's watching or not. Always in action as a collective, as a tree, is 100% right and exact. And that's why we Medina rooted. So from Medina, Brooklyn, New York, to H-Medina, Houston, Texas. Children's Day was originally established in Medina. It started out there, and eventually in 2023, we had our first Children's Day at the last Sunday of July. And like the guy was saying, the original determined idea did take place in the Wisdom at a Cipher, Wisdom Mile 2022, approximately around like December to January going into 2023. And eventually, like I said, we came to that determined idea. It originally started with just a brainstorm on giving the baby their own flag, a 16-pointed flag with all the babies that had been born in this nation. And at that time, it was 28 babies to be exact, that whose name got put on that flag. And it was a white 16-pointed flag. It was a white background with a 16-pointed flag on it. It said, "In the name of the children." It said "Tribe of Jabal" on the top, and it said "He and her truth known" at the bottom, because at the time it was H-Medina was the Southwest, because that's where Trueborn Mylaw first came and dropped the teachings, was in the heart of Houston, which we call H-Medina. That was the Southwest side, and eventually, as we kept building on a collective as a cipher, the name eventually just became H-Medina, because the reality is He and Her Truth Known is just H Texas, you feel me? Like H-Town, H-Texas, you feel me? Because truth known, that's T and X. So, you feel me? We wanted something more in depth on who we are as a cipher and our Medina roots. Because H-Medina stands for he and her Medina. You feel me? Because it's both, you feel me? Every single man, every single woman, every single child, they got to find themselves in that family within their own mind, you feel me? And marry on to the beautiful cipher that we have, and marry on to this nation in the mind of Allah. And like I say, 2022, we started formulating the idea. And then 2023 at the A-Leaf Center, which was in the heart of the Southwest, you feel me? What we say is the heart of Houston, H-Medina. We had Children's Day, so our Children's Day shirt said H-Medina because we was actually in H-Medina for our first Children's Day, and that eventually made us as a cipher collectively agree to we was going to change the Houston name from he and her truth known to H-Medina, because that fits who we are as a cipher. Like the guy was saying, everyone knows Medina, that one of the names for it is the land of the warriors. You feel me? You know the history about Medina, you feel me? It was nothing but warriors over there. If you learn the history about H-Medina, that's nothing but warriors over here. You feel me? Like the guy said, you feel me? The grass is greener and the gods is meaner. That's the famous slogan when it comes to Medina. And you feel me? H-Medina, we have our part to add to the collective level of the 5% nation as well, because that's the duty of the civilized. One of the things that my older brother taught me, Allah Shasha, when I first went out to Now Wow, I went out there, well, not the first time, but my first show and prove I went out there too. I was kicking it with Allah Shasha, and he was just telling me, like, man, you know, boy, this ain't the real show and prove. So I'm thinking he finna take me into some private stock, deep history about some other stuff. So I'm like, okay, yeah. And that's not what it was. He was like, nah, boy, you're not showing and proving nothing here because God already been here. You gotta take it where people don't know who and what God is and where it's never been before, where there was no civilization. It's your duty to go bring civilization over there, and that's how you show and prove that you the true and living God. You feel me? That your wisdom deals in supreme intelligence, and that's able to be seen and heard on all planes and all levels in everyday life. You feel me? Dealing with your individual self and dealing with the people around you. Like, you don't even have to talk. People around you already is able to detect that it's something about you that radiates with good orderly direction. You feel me? A higher intelligence of the way you do things, from the way you speak to the way you carry yourself, your demeanor, your mannerism, all these different characteristics of a righteous and civilized individual. We able to show and prove that in no limit of time. So us dealing with the science of, like I say, showing and proving who and what God is, God was basically telling me, like, yeah, God, you feel me? Make sure you don't waste your breath, you feel me? Dealing with a bunch of these older brothers that already had the knowledge and either lost it or, you feel me, they never did nothing with it, you feel me? Because we not the naysayers, you feel me? We're the doers, you feel me? That's what wisdom deals with. That's one of the words that's found in wisdom is do. We're the doers. And part of doing is being able to actually contribute to a collective level, even if it's not beneficial on an individual level. Because all benefit comes when we see the babies running around playing, smiling, relationships been formed, lessons been learned, dealing with brotherhood, camaraderie, dealing with selflessness, dealing with being a child and taking in the best parts, and dealing with coming into the knowledge of their own selves and the knowledge of everything around them. And we as older brothers, as fathers and mothers, you feel me, uncles, aunties, all that, we here to take these babies' hands one step out of the way and walk them into the greatness that is stored in their own minds, and show them and point them in the right directions on how to go about bringing that positive change out their own mind, because it's in there. You feel me? This is the science of why we say we deal with education, and any brothers who we teaching or sisters we teaching, we deal with a form of educating them. Because you can't enlighten them none that's already in a man. A man has to want this in himself. You can't teach desire. A man has to have the desire to want to learn for himself, to want to learn about himself, because that's the only person that the education is about. I can't teach you about you. That means that individual has to go and learn about their own self, you feel me? And then coming into the knowledge of their own self, once again, they're able to come into the knowledge of everything in life. And that's the science of the 5% nation and why we do what we do, because our job is to civilize the people and teach. You feel me? Knowledge equality. That deals with us dealing in supreme equality
I gave it to
and teaching others free of charge, giving back to others, the community, free of charge. Events like this, Children's Day. The whole aim is to show the babies their value, what they actually mean. Like I say, all these different good lessons and morals that's being instilled in them today, and most importantly, it's all free of charge, from t-shirts to food to toys to games to this whole event is free of charge for the babies, because we don't deal with the science. We're poor righteous teachers. We don't deal with the science of charging a fee for someone to learn. And poor doesn't mean we broke, because we the ones that funded all this right here. This wasn't one man's doing. This was a collective cipher effort of everyone doing their part and adding in gold. Like I say, the sister cooked all the food. You feel me? We got our brothers on the grill, man, the grill. Different people brought ice, drinks, chips, condiments, you feel me? Resources, tables, canopies. You got our brother doing the DJ turn booth over there, you feel me? You got a bounce house for the babies. All this is a collective effort. You feel me? Even as the event's going on, all of us is ensuring that it's order in this event, and it's the baby's safety is, you feel me, okay, and that, you feel me, no one's harming themselves and no one's in danger of getting harmed, because we doing the knowledge and we make sure everyone's protected and we making sure each angles of the squares are covered. You feel me? Free of charge, because this is our duty. You feel me? To provide and protect. It's the science of being a man. We're not even talking about Allah God. We just dealing with simple manhood right now. Being a maker and owner, you feel me? Being able to make the responsible choices and being accountable for any choices you make. That's our duty as fathers and as men. We are responsible for those younger than us, and we got to teach these boys how to become men by being able to show them, prove them a perfect module. And when we deal with the science of perfect, we don't deal with the science of a fantasy of any imperfections and no flaws. We deal with the science of completion. That means everything's been brought to its proper state, regardless of whatever storm it had to weather or different temperatures it had to rise through. It's now at its right and exact state, and that's perfection. It's complete. It's like a painting. Something might be a little bit off with the painting. That don't mean it's flawed. That don't mean it's wrong. Artists might just do one little brush stroke and another brush stroke, and bam, he might look back and be like, all right, now it's perfect. It just means it's complete. That's all it means, you feel me? The science of being universal builders. We deal with the science of everything in life. So, and the reason why we're able to deal with the science of everything in life, because our keys is supreme mathematics. Supreme mathematics deals with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, power, equality, Allah, God, builder, destroyer, born in order to add on to the cipher. And by us being able to identify and interpret and understand these keys properly, then we're able to go about utilizing these keys in everyday life in no limited time. But all it takes is going from that first step, doing the knowledge. That means keeping our mouths closed when we're being nice, or shutting the fuck up when we're being mean, you feel me? And I'm not even gonna say we being mean, you feel me? When we're being real, because sometimes some people need to hear, hey man, shut the fuck up, because you don't know what you're talking about, and you're gonna ruin your own blessing trying to speak on things or do things that you don't know of, you feel me? All it's gonna lead for is catastrophe, when all you have to do is do the knowledge and take things through the proper order in order to get the best results. But 85% of the population all around the world deal with these problems from a lack of being able to do the knowledge. Not only do they not have the knowledge, it comes from a lack of not either being able to do the knowledge because they don't want to do the knowledge, or because their whole ideology and way of thinking is being restricted or influenced by another individual that prospers off their ignorance and stupidity. And that's where we come in. We here to teach the poor the truth about the lies that are told to them by 10% of the population. Because the 85er is, you feel me, an uncivilized person, poison animal eater, slave of mental death or power, people who do not know who the true living God is or their origin in this world, who worship what they know not, who are easily led in the wrong direction and hard to be led in the right direction. That's the mentality of 85% of this entire population that we deal with daily, you feel me? And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's just 85%. Like I say, that's the mentality. You don't even have to look at it as a ratio. It's a ratio broken up in three groups of people in regards to the 5%, the 10%, and the 85%. You feel me? You got the 85ers, you got the 10%ers, and then you have the 5%, the cream that always rise to the top, because that's the mentality. You feel me? It's not necessarily dealing with a fraction of the actual 5%, a fraction of the actual population. No, it's 5% of 3 characteristics of people. Uncivilized people, you feel me, who don't know the truth. Then you have, you feel me, uncivilized people who know the truth but don't teach the truth and use it to misuse and abuse others. And then you have 5% who are civilized people and teach the truth. You feel me? Those are the mentalities of you feel me? You got people who know, people who don't know, and people who know but don't never say nothing. You feel me? And we the most positive people out of that whole ratio of those 3 groups of said individuals. So, like I say, we the 5% on this poor part of the planet Earth. The 4 righteous teachers who do not believe in the teachings of the 10%, who are all wise and know who the true and living God is. We the intellectual warriors. We the tribe of Jabal. That's dealing with the science of the 13, the knowledge and the understanding coming from the 13 man's mind, because he had the knowledge and the understanding, and he didn't get caught up in knowledge and wisdom. And he was able to propel himself as well as this nation into great heights. You feel me? That keep on getting renewed and greater as generations go by. Because we upholding what he built and the foundation he laid, and it was showing proof that it was firm and it was 100% right and exact. We still here today doing that which we said we would do, which was teach the people, maintain order, you feel me? And show and prove these babies how to live a righteous and a natural way of life. Peace.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's all about. You know what I mean? Shit. H-Medina, youth office, hold my hand. You know what I mean? All of these great things that we're doing. You know what I mean? We ain't asking for recognitions, pats on the back to do that, because it's right and exact at all times. That's what we're about. We're the service of the people, most importantly, the service of the babies.
And this shirt right here for your young guy too.
If you don't know, now you know.
This video was brought to you by the 5% Nation and H-Medina and the H-Medina Media Group.